Hi everyone. Before I even start, please share this video just to get the videos out there. The more you share it is the more that it gets out there, because there's people that really need to know that God have everything inside of his hand and really need to hear these words, right? So I encourage you to share it before. There's other videos on the page. You can go through them and just it will help a lot to push the messages that God has been giving me. Right? I don't have COVID. Let me get into the message where he was talking to me about, and it was not today he gave me that. It was last night. Last night, I was thinking to myself, I said, Lord, see, I wonder if it's really you that is telling me to do this. You start to question because you're not seeing plenty, because we think to ourselves, because God and I feel like this is something God want me to tell you all. We think to ourselves, because God tell us to do something, it's gonna be easy. And he had me to know, no, it's not gonna be easy. He said because Moses was sent to take out the children of Israel, and God promised them to go to the promised land and all kind of thing. And I think the reason why they were so happy about this is because they thought they would have never meet up any trials and any tribulation going to their promised land. And he said that is far from the truth. He said, just because I tell you to do something, it does not mean that it's going to be easy for you to do. It does not mean that, okay, because I tell you, boy, go and do something, it's going to be easy. He said, you are going to face situations, you are going to face storms, because he said, oh, listen, when I tell you to do something, he said, look, they face drought, they face all of these things. He said, just because I give you something to do, that does not mean it's going to be easy. But he said, long as you have something for me, you are doing something for me, he said, somehow it's going to work out for itself. Somehow it's going to pass. Somehow it's going to be okay in the end. This is what we have hope in. And he brought me to Peter. And he said with Peter, he said, watch out the story when Peter was in prison. And they imprisoned Peter and they had guards around him and all these things. And they began to pray. And the angel answered. He said, excuse, Holy Spirit does just Holy Spirit just build me up. And he said how he went in. They was praying and Peter, angels come down from above. He said, Francine, he began to tell me, he said, do you know why Peter was freed from the prison cell? He said, because Peter had something to do for God. Peter was one that he could not afford to be trained up. He could not afford to be captured. He could not afford to be going through all of that. And he said, you cry and say, oh Lord, I wonder how things go and be. And many of us are questioning how things go and be and all this and all these kind of things. He said, because of your purpose, he said, you start to do the purposes and the things that God puts on your heart to do. And he said, because you are doing something for me, this is why you are going to be okay. This is why Peter got help from an angel. An angel came down and break Peter out and say, your change. I'm sorry, my speaking when it comes to certain things is get real tangled up. Your change, your CHAIN, your chain that is holding you down, and many of us have chains that is holding us down. Excuse my speech. Many of us have things that is tying us up and that is holding us down. And he said the reason why, and many of us question, will I be able to kick certain habits? Will I be able to stop this? Will I be able to stop that? And I can tell you, because I'm a living testimony of the goodness of God. You understand? And of his power. And many of us sat out, I wonder if I'll be able to stop this, and I wonder if I'll be able to stop that. Because we see the problem, too hard for God to do. Too hard for him to do. And even, so we look at things and we say, I wonder if I'll be able to, stop. For instance, my thing was, and I'm feeling like if Holy Spirit is telling me to tell you all, I'm not very thing with this, but I have to be open. My thing was, I was a person that I used to, smoke once, yes, I used to smoke. And he was telling me something, and he said, Francine, He said, you were free from nothing because you said, Lord, I want to do your work. And God know. This is why sickness in your body is not going to stay. When you are doing something, when God has called you for a purpose, this is why things aren't going to stay the same. This is why it's going to get better. This is why sickness going to be removed out of your body. He said, because God said, when he stepped into you and you start to say, Lord, I want to do what you have put me out to do. And Peter was restricted, and God saw that Peter could not be able to be in the prison cell, chained up to these guards and still do his work. So he said, they were praying according to my will, because my will is that. So my will, because remember what Jesus Christ said. He said, going before he leave and he went up into heaven, he gave permission to his disciples. He said, go into the world and preach the gospel. So he started preaching. Peter was doing something. He was preaching my gospel. He was doing what I say. He was working in my will. And he started out, because he was doing that now, things was to be removed. The chains that was holding down Peter, these things that is holding you down because of your purpose and because you want to do the work of God, but these things is holding you down. Peter was freed, and he said, you, Peter, are going to be freed. He said, you are going to be freed. Maybe sickness, maybe things that is holding you back, oh God, holding you back from doing what God said to do. He said, oh, you are going to be freed from it. Man and woman of God, once you step into the purpose of God, once, matter of fact, you say, Lord, I want to live right for you. I want to do work for you, but I cannot do it. And God say, he said, matter of fact, I recognize that you cannot do it if you're sick. And when I was out there and I was smoking, because I no perfect person, I have a past. When I was out there and I was smoking, I was thinking to myself, Lord, I will never be able to change this thing. Because I had it like real big in my head, I say, and I never see someone that come back from smoking and change. And when God break off that thing to me, I'm gonna give it the testimony, but I feel like if it's not complete for that to be done, right? It is for, that is my son crying. If you hear any noise or whatever, it is my son crying. Excuse me. Come, baby, come, mommy doing something. Come. Yeah, he giving trouble. Yeah. So, back to where I was saying. I'm trying to see if I can get back into the word, right? So, I was his dad is calling him. Mother, just excuse me. I do have a life. I am in the center. I do have a son and everything, right? So, when I was, I do have a past and I do have a life. And God called me to this thing, and I say, okay, I want to live righteous for you, but I don't know if I can, stop smoking. I don't know if I can stop that. And he was revealing to me, he said, Francine, do you know why? And God break that thing off of me, and I'm surprised, but however long, it's been years, and ain't no patch did this. I ain't put a patch on my hand. Many people still think I'm doing it privately or whatever, which I'm not. Many people still, because many people are preaching and they are saying God or whatever, but they are denying the power. They are denying the power that they have, that God have to really change us. So when they see me and they hear of my testimony, they deny that I'm really free from this thing. So they're thinking maybe, she's doing something down low. When I'm not, God really did wash me. And he began to tell me this song, and I didn't want to get straight into it. He began to tell me, he began to tell me this song, and what he said to me, he said, there's nothing too dirty that you can't make worthy. You wash me in mercies. I am free. Oh God and my Redeemer. Sorry, Ollie. I don't know how I get. When I'm in God and when I think about his goodness, I'm not a person, you might see me bawling, crying out my eyes. But there's nothing too dirty that God can't make worthy. He washed me in mercies. I am clean. Ain't nobody did it. But I'm clean. I'm free. And I could say, if it had not been for the Lord that was on my side, I do not know where I would have been. This is why I don't care who want to say. Anything that I'm crazy for righteousness' sake. I'm crazy for declaring that Jesus Christ has washed me and set me free. I don't care who want to say what they want to say, but I'm clean. But it was listen to me. When I did that, it was true prayer. Ain't nobody give me no magic wand. I ain't put no patch on my hand. I remember how I used to be researching and thinking to myself, I said, Lord, I wonder if I don't have enough money for this, and I'm researching even the water vapor thing. And God is a God that will wash you off so clean. People will wonder. Remember what Thomas said? Thomas said, I want to see the nail in your hand, Jesus Christ, because I really believe that God did it that could feel. And many people want to see. They want to see the scars and of the things that you have gone through, because they ain't going to believe when God wash you off and clean you up that you were once broken, that you were once like that. And he say, there's nothing too dirty that God can't make worthy. I feel like this is for someone who give up on our loved ones, on a loved one, give up on themselves. Say, I remember it had gotten so bad for me. And I said to myself, I said, boy, it looked like, and people who know me, my family who know me, they would testify and tell you, yes, she really was like that. I feel like if there's people who give up on themselves and say God can't do it, but God is still alive and he's still real, and I am a living testimony of that. I thought this thing was going to kill me. When I went into the hospital, I used to get sick, and I went in the hospital, and I saw on a diagram, an X-ray. I went and did an X-ray because I started cough up, brown mucus started to come out. And when I look at my chest, the chest X-ray, they say it's the starting of, I'm starting to get, I forget, where's the thing? I think it's some kind of inflammation on my chest or something of that sort. They say you have that upon your chest, and I began to say to myself, I said, but I can't stop smoking. Do you know how bad it is that you know you're going to die from something and you can't stop doing it? You can't stop doing it. And I thought I was going to die from it. And I remember that day when I went into church, and I sit down in church, and ain't nobody knew this, because I was too ashamed to tell anybody that I come to church. And yeah, I sing and clap on all these things, but I have this hidden addiction that is killing me. And I went to church, and when I went up there, they told me about the blood of Christ Jesus and the communion. And at the time, I never really understood it, but they say anything you want God to do, ask him and he will do it. And I believed that day, and I didn't just believe that day, but I put my faith into works, and I went, and every ounce of where I used to smoke cigarette, whatever it is, I threw that thing out, and I say, oh my God, I'm going to do it with you one day at a time. And one day at a time. One day at a time. This sinner, this young lady who gave up on herself and thought it ain't going to happen. I used to say, okay, 1 day down, no craving. 2 days down, no craving. 5 days passed, no craving. 5 years passed. And God was just telling me, he said, tell them there's nothing too dirty. There's a song that says, there's nothing too dirty that God can make worthy. He washed us in mercies, we're clean. What was it now lives again. My heart's beating inside my chest. Oh, I'm coming alive with joy and destiny. 'Cause you're restoring me piece by piece. There's nothing too dirty, Lord. Ah, Lord, stop giving up on all the loved ones. Stop giving up on yourself. There's nothing too dirty that God cannot fix. There's no problem too far gone. When I say there's nothing too dirty, sometimes I look at your situation and say too far gone. Remember Lazarus, 4 days he dead, he stinketh. There's nothing too far gone that God cannot pull back. There's no situation. Your situation ain't too far gone. He created our bodies. There's nothing too far gone that God cannot fix. I'm a living testimony of that. He said, Peter, he said, tell them about Peter. He said, Peter was chained up, but why it is? God said, why it is? Why? If you ask yourself, why will God set me free? Because that thing, he said, anything, what can stand against the Lord? What can stand between you and your God? Jesus Christ come and heal the sick, raise the dead, heal legs and all these things so that you won't have an excuse to say, well, I can't come to you because, my foot's or some kind of thing wrong with me. He showed all of his powers to us for a reason so that nothing, you ain't have no excuse why you can't come to him. There isn't anything too dirty that God cannot make worthy. I'm a living testimony. Oh God, I'm a living testimony. Peter got broke out from that prison cell because Peter wanted was to serve God. I wanted was to serve God. I didn't know he had a purpose to my life or whatever. All I know, I love him and I just wanted to live righteous. And I knew that that kind of life wasn't for me. Something that is killing me, that is going to one day take my life before God intended it to take. Yes, everybody had to die. Yes, enjoy life. But if you had a chance to live 50 more years, would you shorten it? Would you let the enemy rob you of your lifespan? Using your own hands to destroy your body? I wanted was to stop smoking. I remember there was so much time I sit down and I think about it. And although I try on my own, I did not do it. But God. My mother thought I was like, I'm like, Lord. Mommy used to say, Francine, not looking good, Yeah. You're coming from church and they see them. I used to come from church, love God, but still have it in my hand. So coming from church, okay, sit down sit down right there in my church clothes and smoke. And yes, I knew it was something bad. And yes, I didn't like it. And yes, I used to feel guilty afterwards. And yes, I know it was killing me. But God, goodness. I'm talking to someone out there that think to themselves that God, that there's nothing that you try everything. There isn't any addiction. There isn't any addiction. I feel like crying. There isn't any addiction, anything that you could be facing. But you have to work with your faith in God. You can't keep that thing around you. And even certain persons that is about that life and that will encourage you to smoke and all these things, you have to get away from that. You have to completely disassociate yourself from that. Remember, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist that thing and it will go. And show that you want God. You have to replace that bad habit with a good habit. When I stopped smoking, I replaced it with reading God's word. I was more hunger for his word. And I wanted it real bad. And I said, listen, it's just me and you. And listen, God like a challenge. My father like a challenge. He like a challenge. Look all through the Bible. He said, listen, we not going and go when Lazarus sick. We going and wait until Lazarus dead. And he said, we ain't going, if they say he's sick, he go and die, Lord. And he like, okay, cool scene. Okay, we're going to stay here a little bit longer. And he waited 4 days. He like a challenge. You like, oh God, but that's too hard. But God like a challenge. He like a challenge. He like a challenge. My God like a challenge. Your situation ain't too hard for him. He like that. Why? God like a challenge. He like a challenge. Your situation ain't too far gone for God to do it. It ain't too far gone. I thought mine was too far gone, and believe you me, one day down I say, okay, no craving. 2 days down and no craving. And it doesn't just work for you, by the way. It doesn't just work for me. because I could prove it. My prayers work for my loved one. My husband was once like that, and he can't tell you. He can't testify for himself. And prayers, believe you me, until I get fed up and I say, okay, I give up, and God say, okay, thank you, now I can step in. He said, don't try to force that person. You pray. You just keep on praying, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers in high places. We aren't fighting normal. We don't fight normal. We don't fight physical. But our weapon is powerful to the pulling of strongholds, things that is holding our loved ones, strongholds. Even your loved ones. You say, even if you have faith as little as a mustard seed, yeah, I really believe it's going to happen, because I give, I just don't see you this morning, nope. Or that boy, I just don't see this morning, If I go on, faith as little as a mustard seed, keep on praying for that person, even when it's looking like, Because with my husband, it looked like, It looked like, I give up. I like, Lord, okay, I give. And God was like, okay, that way I want. Take it out of your hand and out of your mind. Sometimes we think to ourselves, when we cuss that person to that, you can't stop doing that, how can I think that they go and change? Sometimes we push them further into it. God loved me. It was his love that he showed. Oh, God. His love that he showed for me, my God. I want to end the video, but I feel like I need to testify of it. His love that he showed for me, what makes me want to change. Not if you go want to change, or you, it's like when you tell, oh, you ain't gonna stop smoking, or you're always doing that. You're just you're defeating that person. That person want to do it, but you're defeating them, you're pulling them. Build them up. They are weak in this area. Don't throw stone to them. You're throwing your son and them away. And you're wondering why they're staying away and they're smoking still. Pull them close to you. Look at how God forgive us. We fall on 7 times. Does it say a just man falls 7 times but rises up again? Keep on praying for them and keep on loving. Love them to their love them through that time. Love them to change. Love them to change. Sometimes the thing what you doing, it causing the opposite effect to happen. Instead of drawing them out for it, you cussing and you ain't gonna stop and all these things. You're like, God say, listen, just with Peter, sick bodies, and I oh God, there's no get image of somebody. Just with Peter, sick bodies, and your sick body, and the addiction, and the stuff that you're facing. He's saying, if you want, and that thing is coming between you and his relationship, or you and the purpose that you can't fully do it because this thing is holding you down, just like Peter. And you all can go down in, I think it's in Romans, when Peter, they were praying hard, and Rona went out and the angel loosed Peter. I think it's in Romans. I will try to put it in the description box below, right? Because I'm on YouTube and I'm on Facebook. Yeah, just with Rona, and they lose Peter. He said Peter got loose because Peter had something to do for me. And he said, many of y'all, the reason why you are going to, and this word is something that if you believe it is going to come to pass, you are going to get better. Okay, if you don't believe, this is a living testimony. Anybody that knows me, not the me now, the me back then. Anybody that knows me, they will never think to themselves that, not she. But there's nothing too dirty that God cannot make worthy. If you have a purpose for him, he say, if you are serving a purpose and if you want to serve him, and this thing is your sick body, your situation with your health, or with any addiction or anything that may be holding you back or training you down from doing what God said to do, he say he's going to fix it because of his purpose. You are carrying his purpose. There's a reason. You are serving a purpose. You want to serve him. He said he's gonna remove it, just like Peter had a purpose and an angel come down and free Peter. He says the same way. I had a purpose for God. God didn't just change me just so it didn't just untrain me from that addiction. It's because I had a purpose. I had you all testimony inside of me. You just have to keep on praying, keep on believing. And just remember, no matter what the enemy tried to tell you, there's nothing too thirsty. Look it up on YouTube. That God can make worthy. There's no situation too bad and too far gone. God like to show off any bad situation. You also just listen. Let me end this video. But there's nothing too dirty. You ain't that bad. You ain't that bad for God. You ain't that far gone for God. You just have to believe it. Believe that He can able and let Him enter into your situation. Let Him enter into your situation and put faith to work. Step out on faith and put God to the test. You don't get frightened when you put Him to the test, because I put Him to the test. I threw out all the thing where I used to smoke. I threw out everything. I threw out all my cigarettes. I threw them out. I threw out everything. And I put them to the test. And now I used to do it. I say, okay, 1 day done, no craving. 2 day done, no craving. And now it's 5, 10 years, no craving. My God is awesome. Our God is awesome, you all. Our God is awesome. I thought I was going to cry there. Try my best not to cry. Sometimes when I think, that's why people say, you don't worship the same way and you don't be the same way, because when I think about His goodness and His mercy, I really and truly love my God. I really and truly appreciate Him. And this is why I don't mind if people want to say what they want to say about me. For righteousness' sake, we will be persecuted for righteousness' sake. For living righteous. So you all stay blessed, stay strong. Remember, once again, please pass on these messages. I am on YouTube and on Facebook. Please pass it on. It's just you spreading the word. It's just spreading encouragement, spreading love. In this time, plenty of people need encouragement and love. Right? So just spread the word. Spread these encouraging messages. Plenty of people have situations where they don't understand. So you can go and look at the other videos and just help your daughter out. Help out your sister with this thing. Help the Almighty God to spread His word. I'm doing my part. Please do your part and spread it. Share. Go to YouTube channel or wherever. Subscribe so you can know wherever video is coming up or wherever it is. And just be encouraged. Remember, your situation isn't too hard for God to do. Is there anything too hard for our God to do? No, it isn't, because I'm a living testimony. Right? You all stay blessed, stay strong. Remember, God loves us and He does not delight in the pain of His children. He takes no pleasure in our pain. Right? Bye, you all. Love you.